In the bottom left-hand corner of this matchup from the ESL Open Cup Americas, number 226, the blue Terran in the bottom left corner on post youth is a ByuN. In the top right, our red Protoss player, we have ourselves Trap. Trap is fresh back out of the military. I'm excited about Trap because I watched him a little bit yesterday in the Korean Cup, and he honestly looked pretty good. Took a map of Classic. Honestly looked like he had potential. Very excited to see more of Trap here today in this ESL Open Cup Americas that he played later in the day. And that's from the ESL Open Cup Americas. And these events happen every Monday. It starts with Korea in morning time for EU, then Europe in the evening, and then late at night it's Americas. We cover the Korean ones live. We don't usually do EU anymore. Honestly, the America one is pretty fun. A lot of great players, but it's just not a great time for me to obviously try and cast with it being late at night or anything. So, yeah, it's definitely a one that we like to catch up on from the replays when we have some spare time, because obviously it's got some cool players, got some cool matchups. It's just hard to cast live. So, and to be fair, I think a lot of people that end up watching this with me now, you know, you guys probably were not also awake late last night, so kind of works out. We get to cast a little bit of it. SCV nibbles at a probe. We're gonna get a command center down on the in-base. Both players have an in-base expand here. Obviously, this is just normal in-base as well. With no, not a super. Well, I say normal, but it's kind of the half blue, half gold. Feels fairly normal compared to like the Dynasty in-base. Dynasty feels a little bit weirder, a little bit wackier. It hops up. That's going to come through for a little bit of scout information. Obviously, seeing the expansion is good info here. What was really kind of cool to see from watching Trap play yesterday against Classic in the Korean Cup was it was really cool to see him definitely kind of playing pretty updated versions of builds. He definitely didn't seem to shy away from the idea of he definitely didn't seem to shy away from the idea of kind of playing a couple of things that were a little bit more you know, like kind of newer. Like he was very happy to like sentry expand a little bit in PvP. Obviously, it was only PvP that we saw, but he was one gate sentry expanding, which is very much so like much more of a modern thing than it was when Trap left. So, oh, it was very cool to see. Let's just have our Twilight Council is going to be on the way. Just going to be getting that finished up, in fact, and a gateway coming through. A couple more probes, Stalker, Blink, all the good stuff coming out. The warp gate is coming through, also from Trap, getting that done very shortly. Yeah, just the blink opening, pretty darn normal for the moment. Nothing too wild about this. See our Stalker coming about, and we'll just go chasing the Reaper here a little bit as the robot facility drops down. Extra gateway coming about. Blink is continuing to come through. And we just have ourselves the factory going to move off the tech lab over to a new tech lab. Starport will take a tech lab. We've seen Terran players do so much kind of marine tank, kind of, I guess like marine tagging, Banshee pushing kind of going on. I mean, I was going to say Lib as well, that's also something we've seen, but I think ByuN is much more of a Banshee guy and obviously Starport onto the tech lab. So we've just seen this happen a lot lately. Terran's trying to be very aggressive for the most part. And the back drops out a few Marines, and we will see some probes and some trouble. Here's a Trap having to pull away. Actually, the one part of Trap's game that was not good yesterday against Classic was the very early game. He lost a bunch of probes early to Oracle, Harass, and more. This is going to be a pretty disastrous start. 8 workers going down, and that's before we even have like Plug Banshees taken to the stage. Losing probes like this kind of sucks. It's a lot of money investment just kind of gone, money that you're meant to have, and I get a little bit worried here that Trap is not already starting to build an Observer. I wonder if there's actually a scenario where he just doesn't build the Obs because he's a bit behind, he wants to cut a corner. But he's going to build it anyways. Just took a little while to get started. I mean, that's essential realistically right now. You need this Observer against these Banshees, otherwise they're going to do a very good job of just dealing further damage and improving ByuN's start to this game, which is already fantastic. Pros player force behind the Terran workers this early. Obviously that means they are not mining anywhere near as much as they should be to kind of stay at a level point in this matchup. Stalker's collected about, and the Banshee comes to the upper right as we go into the back of this main. And we will start to ping our way through a couple of these probes. So damage being done. 1 worker, 2 workers going down immediately. Oh, we do intercept Banshee number 2 though, so that's nice. The Stalkers see the next push coming. Guardian Shield try and save the sentry there. It was going to go down. You may as well use the energy just in case it makes the difference. Marines now just going to fight off the orbs, and ByuN still controlling a lot of the map control and a lot of what Trap can see, so a lot of that information is being denied and blocked and all the rest of it. So a few Marines and a couple of tanks out over that right-hand side, so they're going to go around there. And there's going to be a probe just patrolling about a little bit as Stim Combat and +1 all coming through. It's an instant cancel on the third, and you can see where Trap's issue is in this game. Damage taken, can't really compete with this army just cruising about the map. Stalkers need to be careful because the tanks are sieged as well, so you can't really do too much about this right now. Colossus on the way, but playing off 2 bases when you're kind of meant to be on 3 is obviously very tough. The Terran player already has a 3rd CC building and finishing in the next couple of moments. That is a huge deal coming about here. Having that 3rd is obviously going to help out a lot. And just having the 3rd so much sooner than the Protoss player, again, it feels as though this game is kind of on a bit of a single track route to Trap being in a ton of trouble. Or Trap maybe just losing the game because he is in a ton of trouble already. We don't really talk about this on post-youth, but you gotta kill off the rocks to access the watchtower, and honestly, I feel like people just don't really use the tower on post-youth a lot of the time. That's actually kind of wild. I didn't even think about that. Focus move about. We do have this army is still here from ByuN, still staying active. Makes it so scary for Trap as now we just lift up triple medevac and ByuN begins to make a dive around the left-hand side, so believes he can maybe get into the main or something. I mean, Trap again has a limited amount of units as he tries to protect the 3rd base. Being pre-split to deal with medevacs into the main base is going to be very tough. So the unload here, I mean, triple medevac as well feels so dangerous. Battery will go down very quickly. We might stand and fight on the recall. Colossus goes to the correct side of the Nexus to stay safe at least. Yeah, honestly, fighting without any battery or anything in range is just so scary against this amount of Marauders when you're Stalker heavy. 13 plus probes going down. We actually dive on the low ground at the same time. The Immortal will fall here. We're now going for the Colossus as well. I think across the board, fair to say that this is turning into more and more of a disaster from Trap. As 25 probes are dead, his army supply is lacking. And realistically, even if this gets cleaned up from ByuN, the follow-up is going to be pretty darn deadly as well. ByuN takes a pretty comfortable opening game of this best of 3. Not really any issue. Point of Trap. Let's see if he can maybe pop it up a little bit better with game number 2. With maps as well, it's something else to consider that these maps definitely don't let you just play the most standard StarCraft 2, and that might be something that throws you off a little bit if you've not been able to play as much lately. As it sounds weird, but actually just being able to go back to old standards is quite nice if you haven't played a little bit. Gun in the bottom left and Trap in the upper right. Trap is down a game. Heading into game number 2 now. See how this goes. I'm gonna see the racks in the gateway. Obviously nothing too crazy about that just yet. Things looking fairly normal in that regard. Obviously early structures are meant to be placed like this, so again, nothing too crazy just yet. Probe continues to kind of move on through the mineral lines. Barrack is going to be finishing. Probe patrols around, then we've seen that command center dropping into the gold location. Something that you might try and do something about is trap. Probe is there, so it can pile on that location up. Maybe battery, maybe do something proxy-wise. Trap is taking the more normal base, so not going to take the gold, but that means he's going to have to worry less about the defense because it's going to be more difficult for ByuN to find anything when mineral patches for the natural base are not pointing outwards onto the map. It comes back up, a depth comes through. Just going to have ourselves the Ripper hopping back down and away. That probe is chilling up on the high ground, going to be looking pretty cozy for the moment. Let's just have our racks and the orbital coming on in. And the Stargate play from Trap still has that probe in the bottom left, yet to do anything with it, so may just not do anything with it. It's just now starting to move it away from the gold minerals, so looks like that probe will be on the move. As our Oracle is coming up, the Warp Gate's halfway done. Couple more Marines in the town coming about, and the Adepts will try to go for the Reaper. Tank and Marines coming about. Tech Lab coming through from ByuN. We continue to get this going. Adepts still making their way down to the bottom through the south side of the map. Marines will get there, just going to nab themselves a probe. Nice to knock it down. Nice to take it out. Pep still will be pressing forwards here and getting into mineral line range, so I'm just going to step forward a little bit. We'll grab one SCV. I mean, the tank position is good. That's exactly what you want. Oracle in the main. Takes a long way around to get into the main mineral line immediately, but it's going to get there. And 4 workers overall now. Not a bad start as Trap just kind of tickles his way through some damage. He's going to take the third base bottom right as well, so he's not going to do anything with that gold. Kind of don't blame him. I mean, it's such a difficulty to defend. I think this is a much safer way to set up. And if you just want to play a more standard game, this is kind of it from Trap in terms of doing what you can as well. We're going to win the fight against these Marines. This is very cool. Oracle is going to come back in while hurt to help zap down a few SCVs at the end of this. So we get a bunch of Marines, 3 SCVs. Oracle had a little bit of energy, a little bit of juice left in the tank, but couldn't stick around with extra Marines showing up. That is huge. There's our Twilight Council Forge and a couple extra gates coming in here from Trap. All those gates coming up. The Nexus building on the third. And we just have the Marine there immediately to push the Oracle back out into the center. Another few Marines coming through. Damage being done. One more Marine gets popped down as tanks and Marines together join up on the low ground now. And ByuN looks as though he might try and push. With triple Oracle out, Trap will see this coming. So he knows that ByuN is on a move. He's on his way to charge, but it's kind of a ways away. It's going to take a little while for charge to truly be done. Charge finishes, that would be a big step in the right direction of cleaning up a push like the one ByuN is going for at the moment. Oracle's move about, tank Marine. Pushing, I mean, SCVs are pulled as well. Very serious push from ByuN. Gonna put himself on this location, which is kind of between the bases. Oracle's activated to help knock down the tanks. I mean, Trap just decides to go for it. Super Battery keeps some of the Stalkers alive. We get rid of 2 out of 3 siege tanks immediately. Good start. There's another tank in the back, but we will get rid of this one. No, it survives. I think, we got to go back in and kind of deal with that right now. Otherwise, it gets repaired up, and this entire investment in the units you give up are really all for nothing. ByuN sits around as we have ourselves the push will continue, and still has Stim, but doesn't have Medivacs to heal up. Combat Shield +1 will make this more powerful as soon as we try and keep the bunkers from coming online. Stalkers backing away to the battery, and with only 1 tank, you're not taking too much devastating damage on these Stalkers at any point. Now charge is done, and so we can charge in. The tank goes down, and ByuN is in trouble. Just going to be seeing more Marines dropping. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have to chase this too much as Trap. You can sit back because you've just denied the bunkers. There's no pressure on you anymore, although now with a few more zealots, he realizes this is a full cleanup. He gets everything, and actually ByuN says GG. ByuN gets ripped apart there, quite frankly. And Trap takes a map in this best of 3 to tie it up. That's okay. No harm done. So we have in the top left-hand side, the red Protoss, in the bottom right, the blue Terran. Trap versus ByuN in this best of 3 game 3. On the distance is from the ESL Open Cup NA that happened just last night, number 226. Going across, gateways coming up, marks coming through. As UVs and the probes will nibble about. Side data for the map. We'll see a couple of fast games. ByuN really just succeeding dealing damage early made it very difficult for Trap to survive in game 1. And ByuN's push kind of halted in game number 2. Trap did some decent damage to the Oracles and so on as well. That core finishing Nexus about halfway done currently, as we do have our probe moving up the right hand side of the map, moving away from the front door. Reactor in the rack command center to continue in as we get this all up and running for the early stages. Twilight Council is the tech choice, so no Stargate this time from Trap. We'll likely see a Blink play again if I had to make a bit of a guess. So Twilight Council coming through. A couple of CCs building up as well currently from ByuN, so he's going to play triple command center. It's very scary for Protoss if they don't figure out that this is triple CC, because the economy the Terran gets away with, if you do anything that isn't just kind of very eco-focused yourself, it's problematic to say the least, you know? Problematic to say the least, as we just have ourselves the little bit of movement coming around. Again, Blink coming up, couple of barracks coming through. Gonna drop a gateway down in the front there. That's going to be part of the wall off, so we get that started as well. Depth trying to shade about, a couple of racks coming online, the Marines all coming up, CC about to finish, and the Blink coming through with the Warp Gate as well. Probo facility with the gateway continues about. We do lower the depot. It's nice to see some Trap games again. Yeah, it really is. I'm very down for any of the Koreans coming back and playing competitively. It's just amazing to keep a little bit more life in this Korean scene. It's it may not be new faces, but it's nice to see some old faces coming back than no new faces at all, right? Marines come through, a couple of extra Marines all producing through on those barracks. Factory engineering bay, etc. coming through as well. So all of that being brought up for the moment, we get that on the go. Stalkers will actually grab a cheeky little Marine at the front. With the bunker coming through here, shouldn't be able to poke around too much further. Also getting that third base in place, we shouldn't be able to do too much else very soon anyways. Robo. Ronin boosting out an observer. Again, a couple more batteries coming through. The gateway still coming up. Stimpack +1 and combat shield building on the side of ByuN. Our starboard also just getting started now. Again, Stim is about to finish. It's going to give us a little bit of an easier time as ByuN. Obviously, we'll start to be a little bit more powerful right here. A little bit more potent on the map. Medevac's coming through shortly as well. Remember, all of this doesn't have to be a rush to do damage as ByuN because he went triple CC, so... getting that up and rolling. Temple Archives is on the way up, charge is about halfway done. We actually have this better bio coming through. Stalkers taking some hits as we go. And the bio will continue to push on forwards. Stalker Sentry Immortal getting shoved away for the moment there, getting pushed back out to the center of the map. Just going to see the Stalkers trying to blink back through. Marine, just little bits of trouble again. I mean, again, just Trap doing a good job of kind of maintaining position on the map, but this is all still going to be a third CC from ByuN, so these are just very kind of minor little trade outs and everything. We get a couple more shots off there, a couple more Marines go down as we blink away. And the charge upgrade now from ByuN is coming through, so we get that charge from ByuN, from Trap. So as we get charge finished, we're also going to have Storm coming by. Gameway Storm is truly becoming a much more popular style of game. Stalkers into the natural, in towards the main. The Medivacs will be on the way here. Try and drop it. If Trap gets a catch on this, blink available, remember. He was correct to be moving here, but then he backed away. As we will see one Stalker going down. The Stalker's taking hits. Fire comes through, just going to nab at the pylon. And the Stalkers have to back it up right now as well. Zealots will continue to come through. And we do have Slice Storm not far from finishing from Trap, and this is a defense. We're pushing back on the front as well. Good force fields to keep the Terran army away from you, and that does obviously give you just that extra layer of safety. That's a big deal. Again, Immortal coming up, Archon, Prism, falling the way through. The Ghost Academy just finished up from ByuN as well. Push up to the front, and that Cybercore is once again going to be the source of problems. Get rid of the Cybercore. The Fuite Templar going to make their way back down through the left side. Bio is going to get rid of one more gateway. And we get ourselves a couple of forges, a couple of gates coming through. That one's still in some trouble as Zealots will be getting shot down. We move forwards a little bit further. High Templars in trouble as well. Good Storm. I'm going to eat a little bit of that damage as well on the back of this. And the Medivacs do have to lift up and pull it back and get away. And still firing it up. Sentries, Mortals, High Templars, Stalkers do eventually get the hold on this. So Trap does survive. It's trade out between the two. Honestly, I don't hate it on either side. ByuN is going to be a little bit better off resources lost. Trap obviously didn't let this be a permanent position. Trap didn't lose too many tech units either. An Archon and a High Templar seems very affordable. That's nice. Extra Medivac units, and that's going to help swing the resources lost to being actually now in Trap's favor. So ByuN with a mistake of just trying to be a little bit over-invested, still attacking on the map when maybe he should have just been gone. Those medevacs were not the best of HP to begin with, right? So, a little mistake made there. ByuN's had 1-1 finished, but he's actually going to be very late to the Armory and Engineering Bay number 2, so 2-2 is a major delay. In fact, very likely Trap is going to be completely equal on upgrades going into the 2-2 race, which is a big deal, right? Equal upgrades helps a lot. Bay and Facility coming up from Trap as well. As Prism comes through the bottom side into the main right now. Zealot's starting to fire. We do see the Prism just getting the warp in as well. Love that Trap finds the chance to be aggressive, right? Make ByuN look back at home, make ByuN deal with some of this damage. Instead of just letting ByuN be the one that's picking and choosing fights around the map. I think just kind of the essence of taking some control of the game goes a long way. We do lose the Prism though, so it's a good defense from ByuN. Very few SCVs lost. Getting rid of the Prism for the future definitely is a set of results that stacks up in your favor as the Terran player now, as ByuN sits and, well, yeah, okay, ByuN's up about 20 supply. He's got tech coming out with their second starport, the Ghost. He's moving into his fourth base. Trap already has the fourth. And I do love the fact that the tech switch is already coming through. The double Colossus being on the way right now is a huge deal. So having 2 Colossi coming up is absolutely massive. Zealots around the bottom left-hand corner. Fire moves across, just going to catch one Zealot on the go. 2-2 upgrades coming out from ByuN as well, so bringing those 2-2 upgrades into play here. And the Bio's still meeting a bunch of units out in the front. The SCVs go down though, and again, it's always going to be a good sign for the Protoss. Getting rid of some of that economy. Has the, honestly, again, great army right now. Storms and Colossus available. It is a great, great combo to be playing with here. As Protoss continues to chase. Bio is being pushed away. He continues through. Zealot's going to get to the front. Colossus is going to be taking some shots here initially. As you do see another Storm coming down. So Storm coming through. We're going to turn about. Fire up a big few shots right from the very get-go there. And we do lose a Colossus, but we've got so many Storms. And ByuN is kind of just stacked up on that ramp. High Templars do not get forward without getting EMP'd though. So ByuN does what he needs to protect this position and be able to justify standing in the clump on the ramp. It's going to go without him being too harmed. That's nice from though. We do get one Storm through. Lose the Ghost Academy, so no more Ghosts on the way. But we've got plenty. They just need to regen some energy. Archon going to be going down. The Immortals being punched backwards. More Zealots coming through. The Archon Immortal still pushing up the Stalkers as well. One more Archon going down. Good pushback from ByuN in the end. He finally does overwhelm this. We're kind of missing the splash damage here now, and those Immortals are super low. We're going to start losing them. We are going to do some impressive Immortal pickup micro to make the most of it, but ByuN is in fact going to overwhelm. Can we get rid of this Colossus as well? It would be an amazing kind of finishing touch. Kill the reinforcing splash units would be amazing just to kind of make a statement on where we're at in this game. Dark Shrine is on its way up. A couple of gateways coming through again. Prism Speed, 3-3 all coming about. The Immortal coming up as well. Just watch them more back and forth as we settle it down a little bit. The Prism moves into the main. Trap going to maintain that pressure, maintain those drop ability. So this is going to go swiping. Marauder again picked away at a few Stalkers and the High Templar coming over. Storm is good and hits a couple of those units nicely. Well, these Stalkers continue to chase. Medevac does not quite go down. The Stalker just about manages to blink away. Continue to chase through results, and the Stalkers continue to push in. The Ghost being hunted. This is nice from Trap. He's actually collapsed on two sides. The Zelts from the left side as well are going to get into position, and as ByuN tries to chase, we drop the Storms. However, the Vikings do show up. Now, as they come in from the bottom side, the Stalkers actually blinked underneath, and they're able to get some shots off. However, not good enough, and so the Colossus will all go down. Trap counter-attacking with the Zelts again. SCVs are dropping. 3-3 from ByuN. Trying to play catch-up on the 3-3 of Trap, which is finishing soon. So, upgrade-wise, ByuN is at a deficit, and you have more Colossus. Disruptor popping out, coming to the front. Moves back to the side. ByuN comes up the right. Bio will stem it up, and a good Storm again. Just going to go punching onto a lot of that Bio once more. Zelt's coming through. The Immortal coming. Immortal's actually huge in this moment. This is so Marauder heavy. I think more Immortals would actually be very good for this army. With the Storm softening things up, and then Immortals chewing, we are going to be able to get a lot of damage done there. And ByuN gets pushed back. Quite the success story he was hoping for. Ooh, Prison goes down with High Templars. That's not quite what they're hoping to do. Storming and auto-attacking. The recall. He got one out, the one that didn't have energy left. Well, honestly, to be fair, I guess we were just trying to Storm Drop. That's a very expensive way to play as Trap. Losing Storm Drops is not exactly great. Plus, I guess he wasn't planning to actually lose the Prism in the High Templars, right? But kind of funny. A little scan comes through, catching the DTs. This is a great initial catch as Trap tries to mix it up with the Dark Templar. He is going to struggle to get the first DTs in. Now he gets there and a few SCVs begin to drop, but even then, 3 workers on this left side DT. 1 in the natural. It's hurt, but it's not actually dead. There's no turret there. Must have taken damage on the way in, I think, from one of the scans that then expired. Oh, the EMP misses too, so we're alive for a little bit longer. I think we're actually out of scans currently, so this is where Trap's actually starting to deal some damage. We're also going to get on top of this base. I'd like to have maybe seen the Disruptor shot as you know the SCVs were about to pull away there. Maybe it could have been a cool moment. Anyways, we actually knocked the Orbital down, which is big. It's the main base relocated, so that is 1 less Orbital in the game. And it's not like you just had like extra Orbitals to really work with. You know, this is a planetary. Now there's only 2 Orbitals. It's not like that was Orbital number 4. Losing one's like, well, I was trying to be greedy. No, this was actually your main base Orbital. So less scans, which is obviously not good against DTs. And then hence less mules, which you have to save right now, probably because you need to scan as much as possible against the Dark Templar. So that combination of things is not exactly ideal. Come back over around the right side. Medevacs are loaded up again. Couple more Medevacs coming through. Colossus still building. This one shield's finishing, and we have ourselves a Bioforce connected on the right-hand side. The extra Ghost coming about, missile turret coming in, the extra depots are building, the cannons coming up. Shot is going to be able to clip at the edge. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what we kind of switch up in the armies. I think this is very much so a case of it's a scrappy enough game that you just keep on having to take these fights with what you've got and just trying to make the most of it. I don't think there's like an answer of like what Trap should do next. I think just more of the same. He's not rich enough to make some kind of big ass switch. The game's too active for that. And on ByuN's side, I guess it's very similar, although maybe ByuN needs to... maybe ByuN's under more pressure, and that's why he feels the need to kind of make some of these fights happen, because some of these fights he's pushing into are not pretty. But yeah, he has way less bases, so actually ByuN is the one that does need to be fighting and trying to trade and get rid of the army to maybe knock down bases. Maybe not so much straight up fights, but actually not, going for bases would have been better, but you don't always get that choice. Trap Storms on top of that army, and the Colossus still alive. There's a couple of Immortals here that have again been chewing their way through Marauders. And ByuN is just about, I think, finding the defense. New Colossus on the left side. The last few units are kind of all armored, so the Marauders do bonus damage, which means this handful of Marauders are going to do extremely well. That's 2 Colossus. Now Stalker's getting chased as well. Maybe the last Colossus is a bit too much. That reinforcement showing up at a great time for Trap. And just having that Colossus still helps us. Well, the Marauders don't care, though. They continue to go for it. That's going to be all these Colossus cleaned up by these Marauders. Marauders are swinging, apparently. They are hitting hard. And ByuN somewhat stays alive. This is his natural base, relocated at this point as well. Again, it's just been such an active game. We've not been able to do too much of what you might usually like to try and do. It's been very chaotic, obviously. Most notably. It's been very chaotic. Fire comes over. Zal's gonna get jumped on. Fire now just gonna move up. Gonna go after some of these Stalkers as well. A few more Zal's coming over. Sentry's gonna get EMP'd on. Guns is not gonna have enough. It is gonna be trapped with way too much. GG's, and that is gonna be Trap taking this series 2-1 off of ByuN in a very scrappy game, but Trap really held his own. He found some good fights.